There, hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website by, for, and about baby boomers. Thanks for joining me tonight for another quick reminder of something that we often overlook, which is really the importance of friendship. So let's get started on that. But first, of course, we have the reminder this is the number for the National Suicide Hotline. And the reminder is that I'm not a medical professional. I will be talking about things that I personally find useful and helpful. If you find yourself feeling truly hopeless or depressed, please seek medical and professional attention. Just dial 911 if need be. And like I said, starting in July of this year, 2022, and already available in some areas, dialing 988 will connect you immediately for assistance. So, good to know for yourself or a friend. Keep that in mind, please. So, we all know, and we probably have perhaps one or maybe a few, or maybe even many people that we call friends. They might be a sibling, they might be a spouse, they might be someone from work or school, or just someone we got connected with one way or another, and we just clicked with each other. And so we kind of, for whatever reason, we always seem to want to hang out and spend time with each other, or we talk to each other. But it's not like just the person you meet at the cooler at work. There's something really special about a friendship. And you've probably heard that most of the times you really only have one or a couple friends, everyone else is just kind of acquaintances. But we all know that at some level. What it was really brought home to me this past weekend, because I was just super excited and enthralled to spend a day together with my youngest son. He came out, we had an adventure looking at left-handed guitars, and we'll talk about that some other time. But I will say, obviously he's an awesome guy because he's my son. But in reality, he's a completely self-taught guitarist, and he learned to play strictly through determination and dedication. He spent many years, he would literally never leave the house. They go outside and play ball or something, he would always bring a guitar with him. And so he's a real study in setting a goal and just making it come true. So he's a really special guy. So we had a great day talking about a whole bunch of things, some serious, a lot not. So we went to a really neat little guitar store up in the Adirondack Mountains called Adirondack Guitars. And, we're busy lusting after some just beautiful left-handed Martin acoustic guitars. And then we kind of made an unexpected stop to see an old friend of mine in the nearby town. We'll just call him Joe. And so Joe and I, we were talking, and my son was there. We realized, and kind of like to our own delight and our own horror, that we've now known each other for 49 years. And, luckily neither one of us has changed, or we got better or whatever. But what was really special about the visit, right, besides that Joe and I are always there for each other, even when we don't see each other for months or even years, like say when there's a pandemic, was that I walked in, we surprised him, he was working, and the whole situation, we acted as though we had seen each other for dinner the night before. It wasn't like, oh, what's new? Geez, I hadn't seen you in a while or anything else. The conversation just picked up, and it was obvious to my son how close we really were, that we weren't just acquaintances, but we could really count on each other and just we're always welcome in each other's lives. And so it was also obvious that my son was totally welcome and respected there, just by virtue that Joe trusted that if he were my son, then it was automatically somebody Joe would welcome into his world with no qualifications, no reservations. And so it was a really special time for everybody. And after we left, my son commented repeatedly how influential Joe had been in his life. Even though they only saw each other a few times, he knew that there was a bond there between Joe and I. But he also couldn't believe how, after so very many years, that Joe and I still were just as good friends. And it's not like Joe and I always got along perfectly, and I'll mention that in a second. But we were still just completely comfortable seeing each other, and so I don't have a lot of Joes in my life. I'm really fortunate to have probably two or three or four people I could consider at or near that level of friendship, and which is really unusual. And I'm totally blessed and fortunate to have that. And Joe and I don't always perfectly mesh, and especially when we work together, because we've worked together as well as just been friends together. But even when we fight, we always end each and every day as good friends, and that's really important because we both know that the friendship is more important than any little thing that we might be upset about, any little disagreement in approach or whatever. So I just kind of remind you, ask you that, if you have a good friend or a friendship, that you may have let languish due to work or life, whatever came around, I would encourage you just to pick up the phone and call them, send them an email, keep in touch somehow. Because, a true friend is somebody who's not only there to help you when you need help, but there's also someone who you never mind helping out if they should need anything at all. And for me, Joe and I have always been there for each other, often in very small ways, but, we've given each other tough advice, and we've both been a real strength and oftentimes a real pain for each other. But always we knew we could trust each other. And that's a really special thing in a world that often encourages us only to think about ourselves. So a reminder, and so that's really kind of what I wanted to talk about friendships. It's if you have a good one, it's really easy to take it for granted. And I would just encourage you don't. Friendships take work, and there's probably, like I say, I have a number of friends, and all of us always at some level keep in touch with each other. And so, again, if right now you're thinking, well, I don't have anybody who's a friend, then I would encourage you to think back in your life who used to be a friend and decide if you still want to be their friend. And a friendship isn't something that's difficult. I mean, a really good friend, it's not difficult. It's not a lot of work. And so maybe that's one of the hallmarks of a good friendship, is that if a friendship is really a good, true friendship, it'll be something that you want to do. And so I would encourage you, if you don't have any, at least try and cultivate one or a couple, because we all know the world these days is getting a bit, what's the word I want to think of? I can't think of it. Not cantankerous, but tumultuous will work for now. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people who are telling us that we shouldn't get along with our neighbor because they're of a different political party or they have a different view on something. The whole world right now just seems to be, with the news, always trying to be sensationalist and everything else, telling us all the differences that we have from each other. Having a good friendship reminds you that there are people in the world that you can truly share everything with and just have a good time together. So that's kind of it. As always, the reminder, if there's something, where is my link? I have lost it. There it is. If you want to support Ukraine, you want to support any cause that you're in favor of, call your U.S. senator, call the contact. You can email, you can send them a letter, a real physical letter. You can pick up and leave a phone message for them. Contact a U.S. senator, your representative for any matter. This 7em.link/Congress. That's a short short link that I have. It goes directly to the congressional office, and there you can find out who your representatives are. And, as we talked about last week, even though that may seem like a little inconsequential step, actually it really matters, because they take your feedback. They really do. It's an aggregate. But if your congressperson knows that you're interested in something and that you'll back them, they're more likely to back the cause that you're calling them about. Acting even in a small way, and especially in a manner that's consistent with your core beliefs, you'll find that you really feel less threatened by the world and more involved and confident in your actions and your life. And then the other one, of course, is ukr7.com, right? Don't forget that the war in Ukraine is still absolutely raging. Putin is purposely targeting civilian areas and hospitals, schools. He bombed a theater that was known to contain children and women only, no military whatsoever. He's really going after non-military targets. He's just making an absolute mess of the place, trying to wear the people down. It's something that you have to be interested in. If not for yourself, then for the Ukrainian people themselves. If not for the Ukrainians, then for your own children and grandchildren. This is really a major precursor. I would urge you to get involved. If you can have the capability of making donations, there's certainly a lot of links on this page that help you there. There are all sorts of donation groups and organizations right now. There's ones doing just humanitarian aid. There's ones helping relocate children. There's a ton around. If you search for 30 seconds, if you don't want to use this page, there's a ton of good verified and vetted links. There's also a bunch of people trying to take your money. Obviously, I hope you're savvy enough. Go to good verified links. CNN has one that I meant to add to this page. And so there's a lot of good ways to donate. If you can, please do. It's something that's going on now and really needs your attention. So as I said before, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. So think of it as doing self-care by helping others. And I'm trying to think. Oh, right. And that link, just put it up one more time. A reminder, if you're trying to remember how to remember it. UKR is as in Ukraine, 7 is in 7 every minute. So you have no excuse now. Please keep everyone involved. Pass it along. If somebody says, oh, I wish I could help, I don't know what to do, just say, hey, go to ukr7.com, and there's a bunch of links there. So they have no excuse. And you get the people who are just making excuses, you catch them in their silliness. So as always, be true to yourself and live a life aligned with your true goals and your feelings. A solid foundation is to, again, just to recommend trying, if you don't have any right now, try and cultivate one or even a couple good, solid friends. You'll always be there for each other, and you'll always know that no matter what is going on out in the world, that someone's watching out for you. And it's nice to know that you're watching out for someone else. It gives you a really nice feeling inside. And it's nice to know also that somebody's watching out for you. It's really good. So that's it for the week. Thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting and useful, please pass it along. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a good week. Thank you for visiting. And remember to live the life that you always dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone, and see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.